Good afternoon. This is Chris Brecher with Brecher Trading. January 12th, another spectacular day up in the market. We'll go into that in a minute. This is the theme today. Now, there are a lot of people in here that aren't subscribers because I'm sending this out to premium subscribers and also to anybody on my email list. I call it swing trade long, day trade short. So what I mean by that, you'll see in a minute. But basically, we're in a longer term bull market. But we only had, like today, 190 advanced declines net winners today. So there are a lot of individual pockets of weakness. You just can't stay in them overnight or you're going to get yourself buried in here. So a couple of things I want to show you in here. Here's the overall market, but I have to hype my site for everybody that's not a subscriber. We are in business for the last week. I have a lot more subscribers than I ever expected to get. It's very humbling in here. And it's on the bottom. I like going from the bottom to the top. 97 a month. You get me on a real chat 2 hours a day and at least more. Today I jumped on at noon, jumped on a little before 3. The third Friday of the month, I usually get on for 3 hours to do a trade the close in here. You get all these things in here. And I want to go over them so you know it real quick. The forum I thought stunk. So we went, and my son, who's the head tech person now, even though he's an FSU student, he's been amazing. We have a great message board going on here for forum. Great way for subscribers to connect with each other or with me. Because the last one was just to post directly to me, which is great. Videos. Video like you hear tonight, you get them every night. We also have an archive of all the chat videos. But look at this. It's pretty snazzy. Here's all the videos. I do learning videos. I did one on how to set up TweetDeck. It was a real hit. And you see, and I add them about once a week. Nightly videos and swing trade videos for the longer term trader that can't be here all day and doesn't want to just do snap day trades in here. Our chat has been very exciting. Like I said, I'm on at least 2 hours a day. Right now I'm buffering actually the chat for the last hour. But then I put the replay for that day in here. So that's the morning chat replay. Right here, you have the one from yesterday. I'm adding that one in. Here's my schedule on the left. The other thing in here, I want you to realize in the videos, I have no problem adapting to my subscribers' needs. What do I mean by that? This is what the January 10th video looked like. You can press on it and it's fine. I decided I wanted it bigger. So watch what happens when you go to the January 11th video. This way you don't have to take out all the screen space out so you can see trading on the side. What do I mean by that? I'll show you. Look how big and nice that is. Look what happens if you expand it, then you can't see your screens. So I can always adapt in here. Morning ideas, I do at least 10 chart ideas in the morning. Usually I show an overall synopsis of the market along with bonds, and bonds, crude oil. A lot of my futures ideas actually worked as well or better than my stock ideas. And we're not just about stocks and options. So you just press on these and you press them quickly and you can go to all of them. And I'm telling you right now, 2 of the best trades I've had in here were futures trades. One of them, and I'll go into a minute, was shorting the TLT. And one of them was today saying buy crude oil at the support. That was only good for a point. The other thing is we have special events. On Wednesday, I had to Ask Me Anything at 7 o'clock at night. Look how nice and big I made the video, the replay of it. So we did an Ask Me Anything where anybody that's a premium subscriber can get on between 7 and 7:30 p.m. Eastern. That's for a lot of people that work all day that can't get on trading. So I hope you enjoy that kind of thing. Next thing I want to go over here, now that I've hawked the side a little, is what the market did. And this is what I've been warning you for days and days about. Nothing looks bad yet. How the heck do you trade a market where nothing looks bad? Do you buy when it's extended? Or do you try to blindly short and say we can't go any higher? What I think you do is you find the stocks that are working, you stay with them. You also look at the Russell. Because look at this. If you go into this, this is the only index that has not fulfilled its upside objective. So I've been looking for a lot of Russell stocks. Are we seeing a lot of divergences yet? No. And the other thing is crude oil. I'll show you what happened in there. But when markets have these crazy moves, there's always something to do. So what do I mean in there? Gold consolidated, now looks like it might, and silver might have another leg up. If that's true, you might get another leg down in the bond. So just keep that in mind in here. The only reason I think the bond sort of stayed tepid today, so to speak, under its resistance, but didn't fall out of bed, actually rallied a little, is you're still getting a little weakness in some of these things like sugar and coffee and wheat and soybeans. So all we're getting is the crude oil, the gold. We're not getting the inflation all the way through the system, so to speak. But this is what everybody's going to be watching. The dollar. Remember, this was on my 2018 crazy ideas list. In fact, 7 out of 10 of them have worked. The only one that hasn't worked is the DAX falling out of bed. Still could. Apple selling off, which instead it broke up. And that one hasn't worked. And the last one was about the SPY. One day is going to be up 50 and close down 30, and that'll be it. And, that still might happen for all I can tell. But this is what I want to show you interesting. One of them was about the dollar falling apart. This is becoming a huge deal. Number one, I showed this bear flag right here in the dollar. That worked. If you go to an hourly chart, you'll see it in here also. There you go. This is a ledge, a Brecher ledge. The more times you can connect the dots, the more important. That projects all the way to where it's almost is, really around 90. But the bigger deal is if it breaks this on a weekly chart. Now you might be saying, why on earth is the dollar going down if our economy's strong and that companies are going to be repatriating their money, the Apples of the world, and they're going to have to convert euros to dollars to bring it back? The deal is in here, China. China comes out this week, some report that China is dumping our bonds, and China, of course, denies it. Why do they deny it? They don't want, if they're dumping bonds, they don't want you to basically tape race them and get ahead of them and sell ahead of them. So they denied it, of course. You can tell by the dollar. If China or Japan or anybody is selling our bonds, they have to sell our bonds and get out of the dollar to convert it back to yuan. This is, to me, the biggest way to realize they are selling our bonds. They are dumping our dollars because that's how you unwind the position. And I think the dollar, for acting this bad, I think this could go all the way to this. That's 5.5 more points. That's pretty impressive. If it does that, gold is going to have a massive leg up. And so the gold stocks you can look at, because the first thing everybody's asking me in here is, what do you buy now? How can you buy anything when we're that extended? Well, you're going to find that there's fascinating within the overall market. There's always these eddies and flows. So let me get into those. First thing I want to show you is crude oil. I'm pretty proud of this one. Like I said, there's some people that subscribe only for my ideas with futures. My idea was that crude oil would sell off to this support area, right to this area. It overshot a little, but it's a big old bull market. It gets oversold, and that was it, and it just kept going. If you were buying crude oil, you don't buy right here. You buy it here. You buy after it gets above that level and comes down to test it. That's a beautiful thing. Or the ATR trailing stop. Take off all these moving averages and I'll show you what I'm talking about. We're going to make them naked in here. Except for the ATR trailing stop. That's what I'm talking about right there. That's where you sell short. That's where you buy. But if you don't want to buy on that, wait for the overbought reaction back to support when it goes to the zero line. And that was just a great little trade in there. A lot of traders do the opposite. Not the opposite. They buy when it breaks right here. As you see, the second it broke there, that was a quick 66-point move up. Pretty exciting in there. The other thing in here was bonds, and I promised I'd show these again. Bonds are sticking exactly where I thought they'd stick, which is right here in this level, 150.18. They could definitely go above that. I've seen those kind of things fake out before. All this is doing is working off the oversold condition. The longer they stay under here and working off the oversold, the more likely it is they're going to have another huge move down. Now, this could be invalidated, absolutely, and go all the way to here for all I know. All I'm saying is when the dollar's falling apart like that, I wouldn't be surprised to see the bonds later next week have another leg down. So just keep that in mind. I'm definitely watching that. But what I wanted to show you when I'm talking about gold, and I'm talking about that there's still avenues to buy, in this little eddies and flows, look at Barrick Gold. So excited, I pressed it wrong in here. Sorry about that. This is what I want you to see in Barrick Gold. I'm having a little problem with Thinkorswim sticking in here, and I apologize for that. This stock looked great, and everybody I know wanted to buy it right here. All it's doing now is it worked off the oversold condition right at support. Right in this area, always overshoots a little. That's fills the gap. It's just starting to turn back up. There are a number of stocks that do that. How did I even pick that? Because you look at gold. What did gold do? Big old move, and all it's doing is trying to work off the oversold, only going to the zero line. When I see that, the first thing I do is I go into FinViz, and I go through and look at all the gold stocks. Obviously, Barrick Gold, Newmont. And then what you get is some of the other ones like IAG, the smaller ones. These are the ones where you can make a lot of money on expiration. Now, this doesn't move a lot. But I want you to realize, and this is going to be the theme tonight about the swing longs. One is if you're long Amazon, long Google, obviously they've stayed in an uptrend. These are the ones that have been the laggards, but they're staying above their moving averages and the ATR trailing stop while getting oversold. So what I would do is, number one, I would go to FinViz and look at all the gold stocks. And number two, next week is expiration. I'd go in there and I'd look at what has cheap calls. IAG, does it have 6 calls? You betcha. Look at that. They're 15 cents. Holy Toledo. This can move 50 cents in a day. They're 8 cents in the money in here. I'm having a little problem with my Thinkorswim. Give me a second. There we go. They're 8 cents in the money, trading at 15 cents. So if you're dead wrong and the market gets destroyed, you're going to lose. Let's say you bought a 10 lot, you lose $150. That's nothing. But in this go-go market, when you have gold turning around like this, and look at that, it could have another leg up. Well, you know what? This is how I stayed in business this long, because if this has a leg up, you're going to double your money. If I'm dead wrong, you'll lose 15 cents. That's a beautiful thing. Am I a little late in it? Not really, because these things kept their premium down here. They just now happen to have intrinsic value. I'm not saying you have to go buy AIG, but this is what I do. When I find a group that looks good, all I do is I go into FinViz. Let me put it up here for you. So then I go to Screener. So just put in Barrick Gold. Now I have the FinViz Elite just so I can maintain some watch lists that are better than just doing it with the free. But you don't need this. You can log out and screen just like I'm doing. Why aren't I buying calls in Barrick Gold itself? I don't like all that resistance. I know it could get above that, and you could go and buy the cheap 15 calls. What I wanted to show you is just all of them. So there's 40 stocks. 40 stocks in that group, gold. Now, obviously, silver looks the same. You can look at those. But I'll give you the gist of what I look at. First, I go to prices over 5. Sorry, I pressed the wrong button here. I go to prices over 5. The next thing is I want them optionable and shortable. 15 stocks, that's it. And then you see which ones have the best charts with little resistance. There you go. AU, not a big mover, but that could be interesting. Goldcorp, we've already missed. But you see what I'm looking at. This IAG I already showed you. Nice little inverse head and shoulders. This one didn't work. Jagged Peak, I think, had lousy news. All I'm saying is they're wonderful risk rewards when you see things like this. Here's another one, SPGL. This gets over 550, you see what could happen. It could go right to 650. Go put SPGL in here. You see what I'm looking at. Now see. They only have 5s, but I'm telling you right now, they're 48 cents in the money. Trading at 50 cents. That's a good risk reward. If this falls apart, you lose 50 cents. This breaks above here, gets to here, you double your money. Wonderful way to build a portfolio in here. This is what I mean about swing trade longs. You can build a little portfolio for next week, for the end of the week, to trade these things instead of forking out. 10 calls in here is $500. 1,000 shares is $5,500. So for very little money, you can build a portfolio of these cheap stocks. Let me give you another idea, and then I'm going to show you some of the short ideas we were looking at in here. So let's take the shippers. I've been warning. One is I said I like the shippers. The other thing I said in there is you had to wait for them to work off their oversold condition. What did I mean by that? Do you see what I'm talking about? Oversold in an uptrend. Those are the type of stocks you want to buy. GLOG, GLOP, TGP worked wonderful. In fact, this worked off its oversold. Fantastic. And just kept going. GNK we had recommended. Look at that. Up $1.14 today. SEA is actually the ETF for them. Doesn't move a lot, so I don't get all excited. This is the next one I think is going to go. SBLK. Oversold. Almost at a high. Can you buy 12 calls? 12.5. That's a little rough. It has to go up 60 cents just to break even. If this starts going up, I'll watch these. I wish it had 12 calls. I might just buy stock next week. Now, obviously, you see on the right, the problem with this. It could have another leg down, so you got to be awfully careful. You have to watch them as a group. See that on the right? The best way to do this is to take the most expensive in the group. So what you're going to want to do is take the GLOGs in the world. If this falls apart, you got to stop yourself on the one on the right. If this goes to a new high and this hasn't moved yet, you buy the one on the right, and that's what I do all the time. So just keep that in mind. The other thing I'm doing in here is I'm going into FinViz, and I'm taking every stock. I'm going under 20. I decided to go on just some of the funky $20 ones because my theory is the Russell hasn't fulfilled its upside objective yet. Look for the smaller stocks. And what I'm doing in there is I'm finding stocks with bear flags, with bull flags that aren't overbought, that have cheap options. So all I'm doing is this. I want to show you what I'm doing. Let me get my FinViz back up. So all I'm doing in here is I'm doing a simple screener. Yeah, like I said, you can log off and find it too. All I'm doing is doing a bullish, simple screener. I'm taking stocks with at least 100,000 shares. I'm taking stocks only, X ETFs, optionable and shortable, between 1 and 20. I don't really like 1. I'd rather 2 and 20. But let's just say you did it 1 and 20. In fact, let's change that to a 2. All I'm doing is the last thing in here, technical, over their SMA 50. I don't want something in plummet mode. That's all I'm doing in here, nothing else. And when you go in here, it's 640 stocks. How on earth do you watch them all? I'm not going to watch them all. I'm going to pick and choose then. And I looked at things like CUR. Who knows if they're a good company or not? I'm not going to get on message boards. I'm not going to call the company. That's not the point. The point is it forming a bull flag at 2 right there. And go look, they have options. So we're going to put CUR on here on both sides. Look at that. I'm not saying it's going to work. I don't know. But it held support. Nice bull flag in this environment. If the whole market was crashing, I wouldn't be looking at these. The beauty is you could buy The 2 calls for 10 cents. That's what I did. I bought 7 of them at 10 cents. I'm risking $70. $70. If this breaks up and goes to 3, think about what you make. You make 900% on your money. I'm not saying that's going to happen. All I'm saying is instead of forking out on 700 shares, $1,400, who knows? It could go under tomorrow. You lose $1,400, but you buy 7 calls and you're making point by point because you're buying them slightly in the money. So all I'm doing is I'm going through all the stocks near their strike price. So I look for things that have like $1 strikes. Then I look at stocks near 5. Then I look at stocks that are near 10, that are near 12.5, and so on. Most have 12.5s. And you come up with some real doozies in here. Look at a couple of these other ones I bought. CPLP. Look at that one. Let me see if that's the one I have. Give me a second. No, CLSN. That's even better. Check this one out. Here's another one that had a monster move and is consolidating. All I did was I bought the 2.5 calls for 30 cents. Go and check this out. Sorry, 35 cents. I bought one of them at 35 cents. If this stock goes under, I lose $35. If this goes and it does some of the stuff it's done before, I could well make, multiples of what I put in. I love looking at these stocks. Now, you might say, well, how do you know which ones to buy? I'm just going on a simple chart. I'm going on this. I'm trying to find what has a bull flag and has cheap options, and that's all I'm doing. Could they crash and burn like SQNS? Absolutely. That's why I'm buying them slightly in the money. And you'll see in here, you go through these, and then you go to, let's say, layer 5. And you get the ones at 5. Then you go and so on. Go and do that screener. I'm going to be posting probably about 5 or 10 of these over the weekend so you'd have a chance to see which other ones I'm going to buy in here. The last thing I want to show you in here is when I said day trade short, IBM, I love IBM. That was on one of my best ideas for 2018. On the other hand, look at it ultra short term during the day. That is a bear flag on a big old ledge right there. So the second it broke there, that was good for a quick 70 cents. So there's trades to find intraday. There's no doubt in my mind that you could find those. The problem is things like NetEase. NetEase was a good short yesterday, and today it sort of sat like a bump on the log. Now, we're in a massive bull market, and this is a massively volatile stock. But let me just show you on an hourly chart. I hope everybody can see that ledge right here. I can even show you on a 15-minute chart. Beautiful ledge. Right there. Brecher ledge right there. The more times you can connect the horizontal line, the more important. But this is the problem coming in short. That is a real tick. It opened up $5 and then sold off. The key was to short it under here, right at this bear flag. 332 was good for 6 points. Day trade short. Don't swing short because you would have gotten yourself stopped out. There are opportunities like that to find back and forth in here. So those have worked really well, and I'm really excited that we can find short-term ideas. The other thing we're going to be doing all next week is looking at this. Here's another free thing. Let me put them up here. Is earnings trades. And I don't play earnings like other people play earnings. I am talking about going to a free site because I love free. And I go to briefing.com earnings. And what we do in here is if the market pulls up stocks prior to their earnings, a lot of times these stocks go back to the unchanged level by the end of the day. So we're going to be playing these. There's more money to be made in these suckers intraday than having to take some wild shot because you feel the urge to participate with all these other websites. So these are great. Alcoa, KMI, Plexus. the next day, all you do in here is you combine that and you combine it with charting, and that's why I have a live chat so we can go over those. So I hope everybody's enjoyed this video. I'm really excited doing it. For the subscribers, I'll have the swing trade video over the weekend, and I'll also have a bunch of these charts. Actually, on the swing trade video, I might be showing all of the $5, $10, and $15 stocks that I'm going to buy options in next week. So take care, and I will talk to you later.